what we're going to do now is go on to our next round of lessons, which are going to be virtual lessons of me teaching it to you through our video. So, what we're going to move on to next is something called value drawing. Now, we've done value drawing in the past. We've actually started this back in 2nd grade, and I've showed you how to do value in 3 easy steps. It was light, a medium, and a dark value. Now we're going to move on, and we're going to do it in a 5-step value scale project. I'm going to review with you how to create a value scale, and then we're going to go and apply that value scale in a drawing of a cake. I'm going to show you exactly how I want you to draw this, and then you're going to color it on your own. So again, this project, just like the last one, is going to take a few weeks. Come on, let's get started.
Okay, hi boys and girls. So we're going to be starting our lesson on value. And in the past, back in 2nd or in 3rd grade, we've touched upon value before. And if you remember, value is the lightness or darkness of anything. If you look around your house right now, you will see that there are lots of areas of light, probably coming in from the lights above or from your windows, and going away from those light sources, it starts to get a little bit darker. If you go anywhere in your house that doesn't have a lot of light at all, you're going to have very dark areas, and those will be your shadows. So back in 2nd grade, what we did was a simple value scale where I showed you 3 parts to it, where there was a light value, a medium value, MED stands for medium, I shortened it, and then there was a dark value. And we did what was called a value scale, this rectangular with those boxes. Now, when we did our value scale, we created the light or the darkness, and we did it in 2 ways. We either used what's called pressure, which is how hard I press on my pencil, or I can also add layers. So as you can see in the first box here, the light value was created with probably only 1 layer of value with my pencil. Or I held my pencil back further, so my wrist was very flexible. That makes my value very light. As I went and did my medium value, I can come all the way down with 1 layer first, and I worked it back up. And I created a 2nd layer. That started to make it a little bit darker. I also moved my hand down towards the front of my pencil, adding a little bit more pressure. For my 3rd box, where I made my dark value, I went to the front of my pencil. I didn't really put too many layers because I would have to sit here and do 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers, 4, and on, and that would be very time consuming. So what I really did was use more pressure to create my darker value, and I pressed harder on my pencil to make it look dark. Now, that's what we've done in the past. We've done this, like I said, back in 2nd and in 3rd grade. What we're going to do now is I want to show you a 5-step value scale. So we're going to take this value scale of 3, and we're just adding 2 more different kinds of values. So what I want you to do on your piece of paper, you're going to please write value at the top, and it's always good to write the definition too. It's not a long definition, but that it stands out in your mind so you know what we are doing. Now, after you do that, you don't have to do this simple value scale. I want you just to do what I'm doing now. And we are going to make a 5-part value scale. So start with a longer horizontal line. Come down and make your vertical. Go across because we need 5 boxes. And I'm going to close it up. Now, I want you to, again, make a little mark first so you can have boxes that are the same size. Okay, see how I did this? Now, if I were to draw my lines, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and my last box would be very big. So instead of having to erase my entire value scale, it's just easier to erase the dot and see that I need to move it over a little bit more. So really, I should probably put it here, here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so now I could go and start to draw my vertical lines. 2, 3, 4, and that gives me pretty good even boxes like that. I could go back. Don't worry. Actually, what I have right here is not a big deal. I'm going to cover that up with some value. I'm going to go in the first box, and I want my first box to be my lightest box. Now, honestly, if I wanted to make this 6, my first box can actually, you don't have to do this, but this would be white. And I'm going to leave that box alone, but you don't have to do that. We're going to start with our 5-step value scale, and I want you to start by going very, very lightly. I want actually your hand to go back on the pencil like this, so your wrist is nice and loose and flexible. See how that? When you hold it closer to the front, your wrist is kind of tight, and actually you can see your muscles in here tightening up. So you don't want to get to that point yet. You want it nice and loose, and I want you to work from the top very, very lightly all the way down. And if it looks a little scratchy, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I also don't mind if you cross over a little bit as you come down into the next box. See how I was over the line a little bit? That's okay. We're going to add more value to this box, and that's going to get covered up anyway. So there is my lightest value. Now, I'm going to go to the next box. I'm going to do the same exact thing. I want you to come across, do it very, very light, so it looks just like that first box that we did. Work your way down. And here's now the part where I'm going to tell you they don't look much different. We need to make it look a little different. We need this box to look a little bit darker. So instead of going now and adding any more pressure, I'm going to actually just add another layer. So as I got down to the bottom, and this is where you can get the practice of the layers, I'm going to come from the bottom and I'm going to work my way back up, still going nice and light, but because I'm adding a second layer, it's getting, can you see it, a little bit darker. Now, I tell you in class, I don't want to see an Oreo cookie. I don't want it to be black and white. I don't want a quick jump. A value scale has to be a gradual change. So each box should just look a little bit different than the one before it. Now we're going to start moving on. So these were our lighter values. Okay, our lighter values. Now we're going to get into our medium values. And now I'm in the middle of my value scale. And I'm going to move my hand a little bit towards the front. Not all the way at the front yet, but I am going to move it a little bit closer. Now I can start adding a little bit more pressure along with if you want to do another extra layer or so. I'm going to take my pencil. I start at the top. I'm going horizontally. Notice too, I'm not coloring up and down. My value scale was drawn horizontally, so I need to go in that direction. I want to work side to side. Using a little bit more pressure, I'm going to come down. And do you see how it's already a little bit darker? I may not even need to do another layer. I think this pressure is pretty good. And I'm going to work my way down in that next box. And there's a nice medium value. Do you see the difference from this one than the one before it? Now I'm getting towards the end of my value scale. So when I go and do my fourth box here, it has to be darker, but not to the point where I'm making it really super dark yet. So I'm going to do the same amount of pressure, but I will add another layer. Again, side to side, work your way down. If you do add a little more pressure, that's okay. Once I get and work my way down, if it doesn't look too different and it still looks a little bit the same, don't be afraid to go in and add that layer, but a light layer, because what you don't want happening, you don't want to go back and erase. If you go in and erase any of this, you're going to get it back to the pure white, and then it's going to be very hard for you to get back to this point with the shading of the value. Okay, now I'm moving on, and my value at the end now will be my darkest. Okay, my darkest values. Now I am going to put my hand towards the very front of my pencil. And I'm going to press harder, so I don't have that many layers. But I am going to come down side to side, make sure it is. Now, it doesn't have to be black. It just has to be your darkest value. And I do want you to keep it to the edge. See how I have a little bit on the edge here? I still want to go back and fill in those spaces. So I have a nice, clean looking, again, called value scale. So please make sure you label that at the top. And that's it. That's your assignment for this week. I want you to create a 5-step, not including white. I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you choose to put in the white, then that's 6. But I really want to see 5 levels of value. Okay, good luck, boys and girls. Hope to see your emails soon with your work. Good job. There is another way that you can do a value scale. You don't always have to keep it in a box like this, and you don't always have to start off light and work your way to going dark value. You can actually start off dark and work towards lightening up on your easing up on your pencil and making it lighter. If you were to do it like that, you can still go side to side. I would start off dark, and I'm not going to do it very large because I am doing it more freehand. I would start off pressing hard on my pencil, doing a few layers of the dark one, the darkest. Now, I start to move it over, and now what I'm going to do is start to ease up on the pressure. This is a good activity for you to do and practice as well, of working with the pressure of your pencil. Remember, that's squeezing it, pressing on it. And as I work my way up and down, now I'm coming across again, I extend it out, and I need to see that change each time. And I can lighten it up. I'm only doing one layer. This is about using the pressure of your pencil. And I could go on, and I could get many different layers. I could go beyond the 5, and I can get lots of different kinds of value. Actually, in this one, see how it looks a little bit darker here and it doesn't match the rest of it? I could go back and fix that up. But again, remember, if you go and erase it, you're going to bring it back to the pure white, and then it's hard to get it the same way again. But it worked for me that time. So look at this. I have value. Let's see how many times it changes. I see a change there. 1, 2, 3, 4. This kind of looks the same. 5, 8. And if I want to count white, there. I have about 9 changes in my value. And again, I see a little bit, if you study this carefully, I see that I used more pressure here, and then it's a little bit lighter over here. I could go back and fix that up if I don't like it. Don't be afraid. You could always go back and fix any of your mistakes to change it and make it look nice and complete. So there again, that's another way that you could do a value scale, doing it more freehand, and again, using more just focusing on pressure. Include your pressure value scale along with your 5-step value scale. Great job, everyone.